Well, Coach, I was talking to some of your players after practice, asking about the difference between last offseason and this offseason. They're telling me everybody says thank you wherever you go, and they couldn't pay for meals anywhere. So how many free meals have you gotten since the Super Bowl?
I've had my share here in Philadelphia and the surrounding area. I guess that's one of the perks of for winning that last game.
Yeah. Speaking of the Super Bowl, tell me, how many times have you watched it?
I've watched it probably half a dozen times, and the first few times I watched it as a coach, obviously, with the coaches, through the coach's lens and looking for the mistakes, the corrections, the good plays, and then.
When did you watch it just to enjoy it?
Just to enjoy it. It was at least a week after. It was a week after, just to sit down and watch it as a fan, and that to me was. And you still get nervous. You still watch the play, even though you know the outcome of the game. I still got the emotions and everything kind of welling up inside of me as I was watching it, even as a spectator.
What strikes you as you watched it back?
I think just how our team really handled the big stage, the moment. It didn't appear too big for the guys. The way they handled pregame, the way they handled 2 weeks of preparation. The week in Minneapolis, even leading up to the game, the longer pre-games and everything about, because as coaches you want to make sure you have everything covered as best you can, everything covered, and just the way our guys handled that, I thought really carried us over into the game, and there was really, I didn't feel any of that nervous energy with our football team. And I give a credit to a lot of the veteran players. We had a lot of players who had been to Super Bowls in their past, and I think they really leaned on their experiences with the rest of the team. I think that's a big reason why there wasn't that big welling of emotion, especially early in that game.
Yeah. Was there any, post game or after the game, was there any cool moment that you just said, "Wow, this is special"?
Obviously, for me personally, having my two oldest boys, my whole family was there. Youngest son and my wife were upstairs in the box, and then my two oldest sons. What was really special for me, having them on the sideline, being able to let them kind of enjoy the moment, and even before the game, just to take a picture or two and be down there, with my family was obviously very personal and very special to me. But I think in the second half of that football game, I really felt like our team really began feeling that they could win this football game. And some of the plays, obviously the fourth down play late in the game, kept that drive alive. And really at that point, you could really see the team on the sideline pretty much in their mind say, hey, we're going to win this game, and that's when they knew it even before the game. You think you're going to win the game and all that, but really at that moment, you could really see the guys say, "Hey, we really got a really good chance of capturing this football game."
You and I joked before the game, the last time I was with you, that if you win, there's going to be some kind of special thing going on here. Did it disappoint you? Did it live up to what we thought?
It lived up and probably exceeded expectations. We got back here after the game, and we had the parade later on in that week, I think on Thursday, and to really turn the corner from our stadium onto Broad Street and to go down Broad Street and to see the amount of fans, the impact that this win had on this city and the surrounding area. You hope it's that big, and it was bigger. And for me, it was even weeks and months after the game. You meet fans, you meet parents with young kids, and the kids enjoyed the win, and then the parents, and then their grandparents. This was a generational win, for this city and this community, and that to me was probably, it has been probably the most special part of this, what we've accomplished, last season.
Was there any one moment from a story like that stands out to you? Like I got a telegram from Bill Russell when we won, and I just couldn't believe it. He's congratulating me. Was anything special, unique like that?
Well, you get congratulations from around the league, from some of your colleagues would text or call, or you get a nice letter from even owners of football teams, sending congratulations, and did receive a letter from Jerry Jones, from the Cowboys, and just congratulating me and the football team.
Division
and obviously
rivalry,
a division rivalry, and the other thing is too is some of the coaches. Coach McCarthy sending a kind of like a little care package from the state of Wisconsin, and hey, congratulations, and it was cheese and crackers and things of that nature. And then Sean Payton did it a few weeks later, and he sent like beignets and a king cake and things like that.
Pretty well
we've been doing pretty good, and we've been eating well but those moments right there. Those are special because one, it's your colleagues, it's people you compete against, week in and week out, and for them to reach out and congratulate the team, myself, means a lot.
Yeah. Now everyone talks about how difficult it is to repeat. How have you gotten the team to turn the page from that to celebrate? But now let's move forward.
That's definitely it's a hard thing to do because, as you guard against complacency, you guard against, hey, we've arrived. And so, for me, it was about constantly talking to the football team about, hey, remember the sacrifices that you guys went through last season to get to this game. We can't substitute that this season. We've got to make sure that we're even that much more prepared, and not in a uptight type of a way. Still be relaxed and loose, but understand that, hey, you got to pay attention to details, and that started back in OTAs, and I really saw it with our team. We had everybody here during the off season. We only had two guys. We had Darren Sproles and Michael Bennett were the only two veteran players that didn't attend the off season. Everybody else was here, and I'm okay with that, because these are two veteran players. They've played a ton of football, and yet to have everybody else here was the first really good sign that our team was focused and moving on to 2018.
Now, was there anything special you did or the coaches, or did that just happen because of the players?
That just happened, and again, as you got so much downtime. There's that dark period from the time the season ends to when the first day of the off season, so you really don't know who's going to be here and how many guys might even show up, and so for me to see that number of guys and the amount of guys from last year's team, veteran players, show up for the off-season program, showed me right there that they've moved on, and we're always going to be associated with that Super Bowl win, and that's always going to be with us for the rest of our lives, and people can't take that away. But at the same time, we understand that we've got another set of challenges, a new football team. Even though some of the names are the same, the faces, there are some new faces, and we've got to embrace that and take each challenge as it comes.
Some of your players talked about this team having to develop a new DNA. Is that something, did they get that from you?
I think a little bit came from me. I think a lot of it too comes from the player, the culture, that's been established in the locker room. Again, we've had so many people. A lot of players on this team have been to a couple of Super Bowls, and so they've learned from the first one. I was in Green Bay where we won one as a player, then we went back the second year, so I can lean on those experiences and kind of shed some light, to the team. But
is there anything that Coach Holmgren did that you specifically taken on?
Mike, he was one of the coaches I reached out to this past spring to sort of pick his brain and see if there was anything different that he did differently. And really, he said no, there wasn't anything other than making sure the guys understood that the hard work and preparation, which was the same things I was talking about, you got to continue to do that. And I saw a lot of similarities in that team back then, which was going into the 97-98 season, that I saw this offseason. Guys came ready to work, they were prepared, and it really carried over into training camp, this year.
Yeah, and people don't understand. you're going to lose some key people. They may not be big names or household words, but you guys have lost some of those core players that meant so much.
Right.
How do you replace them?
It's tough to replace them. It's tough, and each year you're going to lose those handful of guys, those key players that help you win that Super Bowl or however far you end up. And each year is a different year, and that's why it's easier, I think, to turn the page just a little bit, because you're bringing in some new faces and you're bringing in some new talent. You got another draft year, another whole draft class, and you're leaning on some of the experiences from last season. You're pulling and drawing from a few moments from last year, but at the same time, this team is different. We're all sitting here, with 0-0 records. No one's going to hand us anything. If anything, we've got to be at our best each and every week. We overcame some injuries last year, and who knows what's going to happen, this season. But being prepared, having the new faces that we have, I lean a lot on the coaching staff, to coach their players up and get everybody prepared.
You've got some new coaches this year.
We do.
Coaches coaching in different spots on
offense. And I lost my coordinator, Frank Reich, and my quarterback coach, John DeFilippo. But I'm real comfortable with Mike Rowe. He's done an outstanding job this spring and this summer. And Press Taylor is going to be a young up-and-coming coach who's now my quarterback coach. And both those guys have done a great job, and got a lot of confidence in them. Now,
have you personally said, I need to do some things a little different, or have you made trying to be the same?
I try to maintain the same, my same demeanor, my same attitude, and I don't want to come across as being uptight or being sort of angry with the players or change my philosophies a whole lot. I still want to have fun with the guys and let the guys let their personalities show on the field, but at the same time, I think I've focused my attention a lot towards just the preparation part of it, the aspect of guys, we've got to put in the hard work again and the sacrifice that it took. And last year I spoke a lot about ownership and the guys sort of taking ownership in their job and taking ownership in everything on and off the football fields in their lives, in their personal lives. And then this year it's more about embracing, and I share with the guys that embracing is a choice. You have to make a choice to embrace today, to embrace today's practice, and then tomorrow make another choice to embrace that practice. And then obviously, with each and every game, collectively making that conscious decision.
The in-game side of things, you've been one of the most aggressive coaches, fourth downs, that kind of thing. Do you see that staying the same? Is that going to change now based on the team, or is that
philosophy-wise, I don't think it needs to change. I need to still maintain the aggressiveness on the football field. At the same time, I still need to, be smart about certain decisions that I've made and go back and evaluate even the ones last year. And I still want to show my confidence in the players. But if I don't put the players in those situations in practice during the week or during training camp, OTAs, it's really hard to execute plays like what we did in the Super Bowl if I'm not putting the guys in those situations. And so I want to maintain the aggressiveness, obviously. But again, this is just like the team. It's a new season coming up, and so you don't know what you're going to be faced with each and every week with a fourth down or a 2-point conversion or whatever. But
your nature is to be aggressive.
My nature is continue to. I just want to stay on the edge.
As an ex-quarterback, you believe in your quarterbacks. So
I believe.
You want them to
exactly right. I believe and trust in my players, and I want to put them in positions to be successful.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your quarterbacks, I know that's been back and forth, and we think Nick's going to play. How many times has Carson been into your office telling you he's ready to go?
Just about every day. Just about every day, and rightfully so. He's done a great job with his rehab, and he's worked extremely hard, obviously, to get to this point.
His health, is that basically what the decision is?
The bottom line is the health of the player and where he is medically. Mentally, physically, as coaches, we think everybody's ready to play, but the health, our medical team will make that decision. And he's close, but at the same time, he's worked extremely hard. And,
how's he taking it?
I think on the outside, he's good. On the inside, he might be like disappointed and mad and upset, because as an athlete, you want to play.
Absolutely.
And especially as a quarterback, you want to play. And I understand that. And so,
how long do you think you're going to be able to keep him down?
not long. Not with his demeanor and his work ethic. It won't be long.
Any thoughts on this game Thursday night in Atlanta? Obviously, we were here and they're this close to winning the game at the end. So this is a good football team.
It's a great football team. The last 2 years we've played them, and obviously they've got I believe 10 returning starters on defense, and this is a fast, aggressive defense, and offensively they got playmakers, and they just seem to keep adding playmakers to that offense around Matt Ryan, and it takes a full 60-minute football game to beat this team, and I believe that in 2 years, even though we've won, we still haven't thrown a touchdown pass against this defense, and yet we've been able to rush the ball, for some scores. But this is a tough group, and it's the first game of the season and not the 17th, 18th game of the year. So it's a lot different. Both teams are pretty healthy coming into the season. So it's going to take a full 60-minute game,
and maybe going for it on some fourth downs.
Maybe some fourth down calls to keep some drives alive.
Do you have another Philly special in the works for him?
I can't say. I can't tell you all my secrets.
Going back to turning the page on the Super Bowls, when I won ours in Pittsburgh, the veterans said, "Wear your ring for a week, show it to everybody, and then put it away because we got more work to do." I think you kind of taking the same approach with taking the sign down out of the locker room.
We did. It was a collective decision. I got the leadership council together along with Mr. Lurie, and it had been brought to our attention that maybe take it down out of the locker room, and we have signage around the building, and that's great. I think it's great to remember. When I look at that sign, I think of the journey and the players and the coaches that helped us win that championship. But I get it too from having spent time in the locker room as a player. It's a new locker room. It's a new season. There's new faces in there. It doesn't mean anything to the new guys, and so for us, it's about turning the page. So we brought it down, and we'll locate it somewhere else, either in the building or at the stadium, and I'm good with that because that also is another sign that our players have also turned the page and they're focused on this new season.
Go win another one.
That's it.